My parents said no children were allowed at the Christmas party, including my son, but when I got to their house, I saw my sister's 3 kids there. They told me those children deserved to be there, so I told them I would no longer be supporting them. My parents insisted their Christmas party was for adults only, meaning my son couldn't come. But when I got to their house, I found my sister's 3 kids running around. They told me those children deserved to be there. In that moment, I decided I was done supporting them for good. I never imagined I'd be a widow at 34, but that's my reality. Here I am, Dakota, at my kitchen table at 7 a.m., trying to hold back tears while getting my 7-year-old Tommy ready for school. It's been months since the construction site accident took Mark from us, but some mornings it feels like it happened yesterday. The first few months were a total blur of paperwork, grief, and sleepless nights. Honestly, I don't know how I would have survived without my in-laws. Sarah and Jim, they have been absolute lifesavers, picking Tommy up from school every day so I can manage my job. When I stop by their house to get him, they always try to press money into my hand. Sarah, really? I can't take this. I said just last week, pushing back an envelope she tried to slide into my purse. Dakota, sweetie, we want to help, she insisted, her kind eyes locking with mine. We know the insurance company paid out, but your family. Let us do this. She's right about the insurance. The company paid out $300,000 after Mark died. Between that and my salary as a marketing manager, we're financially stable. But with Sarah and Jim, it's never been about money. It's about the genuine love they show us. If only my own parents were half as supportive. They've always made it painfully clear that my older sister Rachel was their golden child. A favoritism they now extend to her children over my Tommy. Last weekend was a perfect example. Tommy was thrilled to see his grandparents, but within 20 minutes, my mom was already complaining. Why does the clock make that sound? Tommy asked, pointing at their antique grandfather clock. How do the gears work? My mom just sighed, rolling her eyes. Dakota, can't you control him? He's always asking a million questions. Rachel's kids are never this much trouble. My dad just nodded along, grabbing his laptop. Here, Tommy. Why? Don't you play some games instead? I downloaded some new ones, but Tommy didn't want a screen. He wanted to connect, to learn. Meanwhile, Rachel's 3 kids were silent in a corner, glued to their phones, barely acknowledging anyone. And my parents praised this as ideal behavior. Learned to bite my tongue. Growing up as the second best, I got used to the constant comparisons. Now, I just stay quiet when they compliment Rachel's parenting while taking shots at mine. At least they occasionally helped out, watching Tommy when I had a late meeting or if Sarah and Jim were both busy. It was supposed to be a normal Tuesday dinner at their house, but the warning signs were all there. Mom made my favorite lasagna, something she only does when she's about to ask for something big. Dad was unusually chatty, asking about my job, about Tommy, about everything. They were building up to something. So, Dakota, my mom said, meticulously cutting her lasagna, we wanted to ask you something. How much was Mark's life insurance payout? The question felt like a physical blow. I almost choked on my water, completely blindsided. Maybe it was the shock, or maybe I was just done hiding things. But I answered her. About $300,000, I said quietly. The fork clattered on my mom's plate. Dad's head snapped up so fast I worried he'd get whiplash. They just stared at me. Well, my mom said, setting down her fork, what do you plan on doing with all that money? The weight of their expectations was suffocating. I've invested it, I explained, trying to keep my voice even. It's for Tommy's future, his college, maybe a down payment on an apartment someday. Mark and I always talked about that, but that's years from now. My dad interrupted, waving his hand dismissively. You should think about the present, Dakota, about your family. The way he stressed the word family made it clear he didn't mean Tommy and me. I knew that tone. It was the same one they used before helping Rachel with her house or funding her lavish wedding. You could do so much good with that money right now. Mom chimed in, leaning forward. You could help the family who needs it today, not save it for some distant future that might not. I'm not discussing my finances anymore. I cut in, my voice sharper than I intended. The silence that followed was heavy. My dad's face clouded, over with that familiar look of disappointment, and my mom pressed her lips into a thin, angry line. The rest of dinner was tense and quiet. I figured that was it. I expected the silent treatment for a month, their usual punishment when I failed to meet their expectations. But to my surprise, Mom called a week later, her voice warm as if nothing had happened. We're having a family dinner on Sunday. Rachel and the kids will be here. You have to come, sweetie. Her tone felt off, but I agreed. When I arrived, Rachel and her kids were already there, all of them zoned out on their phones. As we ate, Rachel started complaining about how hard it was to make ends meet. Everything is just so expensive now, she sighed. Your father and I are barely scraping by, my mom added, dabbing at her eyes. Then Rachel cleared her throat. I've been thinking, she announced, looking around with a self-righteous air. Dakota and I should help Mom and Dad financially. I'll send them $500 a month. I wish it could be more, but with Jack as the only one working, you know how it is. She let that hang in the air before turning to me. A fake smile plastered on her face. But you, Dakota, you should send them $1,000 a month. I nearly choked. Excuse me? Well, it makes sense, Rachel pressed. You have a great job, only one kid, and with your situation, you have other income now. My blood boiled. She was carefully avoiding saying Mark's name, reducing his death to other income. I wanted to scream that I was a widow, that this money was for my son's future. But Mom was already clapping and Dad was beaming. Oh, girls! Mom exclaimed. This means so much to us. I felt trapped. Looking at their expectant faces, the words of refusal caught in my throat. I had spent my whole life chasing their approval. Fine, I heard myself say, I'll do it. That first $1,000 transfer felt like a betrayal. I told myself it was buying family support for Tommy, but that illusion shattered quickly. Mom, can you pick Tommy up today? Sarah has a doctor's appointment. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry, she'd say over the phone. I have such a bad migraine. It became a running theme. Every time I needed her, there was an excuse. She was busy, tired. Her back hurt. Meanwhile, the $1,000 left my account every month like clockwork. One day after Mom said she couldn't watch Tommy because she might be coming down with something, I called Sarah in desperation. Of course we'll get him, she said, without a moment's hesitation. Jim's on his way to the school now. Hung up and fought back tears. $1,000 a month bought me nothing but excuses from my own mother, while my mother-in-law would drop everything for us without asking for a dime. December arrived before I knew it. Christmas Eve was always at my parents' house. It was tradition. A week before the holiday, Mom called. I was helping Tommy with his homework. Dakota, honey, she started in that sugary sweet voice that always spelled trouble about Christmas Eve. We're having an adults-only party this year. No children. A pencil in my hand snapped. What? We just want something more sophisticated, she continued casually. Wine. Adult conversation. But it's Christmas, I protested. What am I supposed to do with Tommy? Oh, that's easy, she replied dismissively. Leave him with Sarah and Jim. They'd love to have him. Come by around 7. After the call, I looked at Tommy, who was completely oblivious, still focused on his math. My heart broke. He had just been uninvited from his own family's Christmas. I spent the next week agonizing over what to do. The idea of going without Tommy felt wrong, but skipping it entirely seemed too dramatic. I decided on a compromise. I'd drop Tommy off with Sarah and Jim, make a brief appearance at my parents' house, and then go back to celebrate properly with my real family. On Christmas Eve, I pulled up to my parents' house alone. The driveway was packed with cars. As I walked to the door, I could hear laughter and music. I opened it and my world tilted. The house was full of relatives, but that's not what made me freeze. Running through the living room were Rachel's 3 kids. Near the tree, my cousin's children were grabbing cookies. More kids were everywhere. The room felt hot, suffocating. My gift bag hung limply from my hand. This wasn't an adults-only party. It was a party where my son was the only child not welcome. I stood frozen in the doorway, my mind racing. Oh, my aunt. Marie rushed over. Dakota, sweetheart, where's little Tommy? Don't tell me he's sick on Christmas Eve. Before I could respond, my cousin Peter chimed in. Yeah, where's our favorite little scientist? Everyone was asking where Tommy was, and each question felt like a twisting knife. I spotted my mother in the kitchen, arranging a platter of cookies as if nothing was wrong. Excuse me, I managed, pushing through the crowd. Mom, I said, my voice low and tight. Can we talk? In the hallway, I confronted her. You told me this was an adults-only party. Specifically told me not to bring Tommy. Why are Rachel's kids here? Why is every other child in the family here? She straightened her sweater, avoiding my gaze. Well, that's different. Different. How those children, she said, gesturing vaguely, know how to behave at formal gatherings. They're well-mannered, stared at her, incredulous. Tommy is one of the most polite kids I know. Oh, Sarah and Jim, she interrupted, rolling. Her eyes, they spoil him. They encourage all those questions. The other children deserve to be here more. They know their place. Just then, a crash came from the dining room. Rachel's youngest was throwing deviled eggs at his sister, who shrieked as they splattered all over her new dress. I turned back to my mother and raised an eyebrow. Yes, I can see their superior manners on full display. Her face hardened. That's just kids being kids. But when Tommy asks how things work, it's a problem. Don't be so dramatic, Dakota. He's fine with Sarah and Jim. I'm leaving, I announced, turning for the door. I'm going to be with my son. My mom just shrugged, examining her manicure. Fine, make a scene. But leave the presents under the tree first. Something inside me snapped. I walked into the middle of the living room and cleared my throat loudly. The room went silent. Several of you have asked why Tommy isn't here tonight. I began, my voice steady. I'm here alone because my mother called me a week ago and said this was an adults-only party. I was specifically told not to bring him. What? Aunt Marie said. We didn't know anything about a ban on children, my uncle added. My mom stepped. Oh, I think this is the perfect time, I shot back. Because there wasn't a ban on all children. There was a ban on one child. My child. The son who apparently isn't good enough for this family's Christmas. The room erupted in murmurs. But that's not even the best part. I laughed without humor. While my son isn't good enough to be here, I'm apparently good enough to send my parents $1,000 a month. And Rachel here sends them $500. Rachel's husband, Jack, looked stunned. What $500? The color drained from Rachel's face. You're sending them money every month. From where? We can barely cover our own bills. Rachel's composure finally broke. I never actually sent any money, she stammered. Mom and Dad told me to say I was, so Dakota would agree to help them out too. The silence was deafening as my relatives pieced together the deception. You scammed your own daughter. Aunt Caroline's voice was sharp as glass. Using her like an ATM while you kick her kid out of Christmas. That's low, even for you. The room exploded. Rachel was trying to explain herself to a furious Jack while my parents' carefully constructed image crumbled. I raised my hand. Have one more thing to say. The room fell quiet again. From this moment on, I said, my voice clear and final, I will no longer be sending you any money, and I am done with any relationship with you or with Rachel. Without another word, I turned, left the gifts by the door, and walked out. Closing that door felt like ending a chapter one should have closed years ago. In my car, I pulled out my phone and canceled the recurring transfer. It felt like cutting a chain. The drive to Sarah and Jim's was a blur. But when I pulled up, I saw Tommy through the window, happily decorating cookies with Sarah. The sight of him, so loved and content, brought tears to my eyes. We spent the rest of Christmas Eve with them, singing carols and watching Tommy's face light up. This, I realized, was what family was supposed to feel like. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Aunt Caroline. "You might want to hear how last night ended," she said. She described how, after I left, the relatives walked out one by one, disgusted. "And Jack?" I asked. "Oh, honey, he was livid. He packed up the kids and told Rachel he needed time to think about their marriage. He took the kids to his parents for Christmas." My phone buzzed with texts from my parents and Rachel, all saying they were sorry and wanted to explain. I read them once, then archived them. The week between Christmas and New Year's was peaceful. Tommy and I spent our evenings with Sarah and Jim, playing games and just enjoying being with people who loved us. Then on New Year's Eve, my doorbell rang. It was Mom and Dad, holding a large, expensive-looking gift. "Dakota, please." Mom called through the door. "We just want to talk." I opened the door but blocked their entry. "We brought this for Tommy," Dad said, holding out the package. "He doesn't need it," I replied. "Please, Dakota," Mom begged. "We know we were wrong. We're truly sorry." I studied their faces. Are you sorry because you know what you did was wrong? Or are you sorry because the whole family knows and won't speak to you? Their shared glance gave me the answer. "I think you should leave," I said quietly. "I don't believe you, and I don't trust you." "But we're family," she protested, tears welling in her eyes. "No," I shook my head. "Family doesn't manipulate each other. Family doesn't exclude a child from Christmas. What you did isn't family." They eventually left, and I watched them drive away, feeling not sadness, but a profound sense of relief. In the months since, I've stuck to my decision. The money that used to go to them now goes into Tommy's college fund. It's funny, once you cut toxic people out of your life, you realize how much room there is for genuine love to grow. My aunts and uncles now invite us to everything. They make a point to include Tommy, to encourage his curiosity. I watch my son blossom, surrounded by family who actually wants to know him, not just control him. He calls Sarah and Jim Grandma and Grandpa now. They are our rock, our safe harbor, and our true family.